Hey guys, it's me, Megan. Tonight, I would like to show you all some of my favorite chick flick movies. These are by no means my favorite movies ever, although they are among my favorite movies ever, but I would say generally these are movies that when I am looking to be cheered up, I've had a rough day, if I just want to picture the world as a simpler place than maybe it actually is, then these are the movies that I reach for. My husband and I have actually an ongoing joke about several of these, because I would say about once every 6 months or so, we decide that we're going to give away movies to make room on our shelf for more. And every time that we go through the movies to decide which we're going to give away, he will jokingly tell me that he thinks we should give one of these away. And my answer is always, no. So, I am going to put on some chapstick really quick, because I am feeling a little bit chapped before we start. And I just have to say, this is completely off topic, but who is big into these EOS things? I mean, they're okay, but in my opinion, they're not like the most moisturizing things ever. But hey, that's what's on hand, so that's what we're gonna use. And that's a blueberry flavor one, so now I'll have a snack on my lips. Now, these movies are in no particular order. I've just got the stack of them off to the side, and I'm going to pull them up one by one. We'll talk about them. Okay. The first movie is Clueless. I really love this movie. I was born in 79, so I have a lot of great childhood memories from the 80s, but a lot of my, all of my teen years were spent in the 90s, and this is kind of an iconic 90s movie. So it stars, of course, Alicia Silverstone and Brittany Murphy, R.I.P. Let's see what it has to say. It says, still as smart and charming as ever, Clueless gets a fresh, sassy makeover for this new whatever collector's edition. Alicia Silverstone sparkles as Cher, the matchmaking 15-year-old Beverly Hills high schooler who has shopping and boys on her mind, but mostly shopping. Also starring Brittany Murphy as a dowdy transfer student, Jeremy Sisto as her potential mate, and Paul Rudd as Cher's sensitive Baldwin stepbrother. Clueless is back to capture the hearts of a whole new generation. I truly love this movie. It's just fun. I mean, it's silly. It has a good message in the end, and it's just a nice movie. if you want to chill out and not think too hard. Plus, Paul Rudd is a cutie patootie in this movie. I just have to say, I mean, he's kind of a cutie patootie and everything, but in this movie, he's totally cute. So, if you have not seen Clueless, you should check it out. It makes me happy when I watch it. Okay, the next movie is My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Love is here to stay. So is her family. Dum dum dum. And even for those of you who've not seen this movie, you may be able to guess by this panel over here that that's her family. So I think this movie is hilarious. Aunt Vula, who's right there, she's pretty much my favorite character of this entire movie, but all the characters actually are really charming. And the main character, what is her name in the movie? Let me see. Tula, that's right. So this is Tula right here. And she kind of starts off the movie as an ugly duckling. She's older, she's not married yet, and it's kind of, the movie shows her finding herself and kind of having a romantic awakening, and it's pretty awesome. It has some really hilarious moments. In fact, I saw this in the movie theater when it came out, and I nearly peed myself at one of the parts of this movie. I will not tell you which part. If you haven't seen it, you'll have to watch it, or if you have seen it, you'll have to tell me what part made you almost pee yourself, and then we'll compare notes. So, anyway, let's see what it says. Tula is 30 and unmarried, which means as a nice Greek girl, she's a failure. All her cousins did the right thing, married Greek boys and made Greek babies, so everyone worries, what will become of Tula? Then one day she sees the ultimate unattainable guy and realizes the only way her life will get better is if she gets away from her big fat Greek family. Tula escapes from the family restaurant. She exchanges her seating hostess jacket for a college diploma, convinces her aunt to give her a new job, and trades in her Coke bottle glasses for contact lenses, just in time for him to walk back into her life. Ian Miller is tall, handsome, but definitely not Greek. Their courtship is an Olympian culture clash. Can Ian handle Tula, her parents, her aunts, uncles, cousins, and several centuries of Greek heritage? Will Tula discover the love she's been missing right in the heart of her big fat family? One thing is for sure, for better or worse, for richer or poorer, with Ian's proposal, Tula is headed for her big fat Greek wedding. So, this is awesome. I really do love this movie. And it's actually based on a true story. The real Ian actually is in this movie, but he plays another character. And she's actually married him in real life. So, I think that's cool. Anyway, My Big Fat Greek Wedding. Okay, as controversial as I'm sure this will be, I love Twilight. I feel like Twilight is one of those series that you either love it or you hate it. I personally love it. I've read all the books. I have all the movies. The books are better, of course. So, but my sisters hate it, like, despise it. I have friends that I've tried to get started on this series. They were not big fans either. I just don't get it, how you don't love it. So if you're a Twilight fan, tell me, are you Team Edward or are you Team Jacob? I'm curious to know your personal preference. Of course, this is Edward on the cover and Bella. Now, I think part of the reason I love the book so much more than I love the movies is because I can imagine Bella as someone other than Kristen Stewart. That is really mean to say, but so true. So yeah, let's see. And of course, I'm just showing you one, but I do have all of them. The first movie is still my favorite. The most epic romance since Titanic. I don't know if I would necessarily put it in that category. I don't know. I'll have to think a little bit more about it. So, it says Bella Swan doesn't expect much when she moves to the small town of Forks, Washington, until she meets the mysterious and handsome Edward Cullen, the boy who's hiding a dark secret. He's a vampire. As their worlds and hearts collide, Edward must battle the bloodlust raging inside him, as well as a coterie, that's an interesting word, of undead that would make Bella their prey. Based on the #1 New York Times bestselling sensation by Stephanie Meyer, Twilight adds a dangerous twist to the classic story of star-crossed lovers. So I have to say, I seriously do love this movie. I don't know. Personally, I've kind of shifted back and forth between Team Edward and Team Jacob. I'm clearly, a Team Edward at this point. If you know these stories, then I'm guessing a lot of people are, but anyway. Yeah, so this is my highly controversial movie pick. So if you hate Twilight, I apologize in advance. So this is Mean Girls, back when Lindsay Lohan looked halfway normal. I love this movie. This is another one where I feel like, sorry, my chair's squeaking. Where I feel like this is a movie about a good girl who gets into a tough social situation, makes some bad decisions, and learns a lesson in the end. I'm all about happy ending movies when I'm looking to kind of escape reality and believe in a beautiful world where everything works out in the end. This is the kind of movie that I like to see for that. Let's see, what does this say? Mean, meaner, meanest. That's pretty funny. This one, definitely the meanest. She is a pretty rotten piece of work in this movie. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh like that. Raised in the African bush country by her zoologist parents, Katie, who's played by Lindsay Lohan, thinks she knows all about the survival of the fittest. But the law of the jungle takes on a whole new meaning when the homeschooled 15-year-old enters public high school for the first time. Trying to find her place among jocks, mathletes, and other subcultures, Katie crosses paths with the meanest species of all, the queen bee, aka the cool and calculating Regina, leader of the school's most fashionable clique, the Plastics. When Katie falls for Regina's ex-boyfriend, though, the queen bee is stung, and she schemes to ruin Katie's social future. Katie's own claws soon come out as she leaps into a hilarious girl world war that has the whole school running for cover. Co-starring and written by Saturday Night Live's Tina Fey, Mean Girls is viciously funny. I would agree with that. It's viciously funny. And Tina Fey is perfect in it. I think it's, like I said, I think this story has a good message. It's uplifting. And It also highlights, I mean, as a woman who grew up as a teen girl, obviously, everyone has to pass through that at some point. Girls can be really mean. I feel like guys are more likely to have a problem with one another, but to just say, yo, I've got a problem with you, punch each other a couple of times, and then be over it. Girls are much more insidious with the way that they deal with conflict. I feel like a lot of times girls pretend like everything's fine, pretend like they're your friend, and then blam, stab you in the back when you're not watching. It's pretty horrible. So I feel like this movie kind of brings that to light and hopefully makes anyone who's watching it think about that. Okay, I've got 3 more movies sitting here. 2 of them are related, so I'll go ahead and show those together. Okay, these are, now there's a third one. I don't have that one, but I have seen it, and it's excellent if you haven't already seen it. Bridget Jones's Diary. Best. I love this movie. I like this movie, but I love this movie, and I just think that they're awesome. I love stories about, which this is, stories about the awkward girl and the awkward guy and the seemingly perfect guy and how all that works out. I love those kinds of things. I especially love stories about when the awkward, like the socially awkward, I'm going to put this to the side for a second, when the not classically beautiful, somewhat socially awkward, unique girl gets her man at the end of the day. I love those stories, because I like to think about, this sounds so corny, but I like to think about the uniqueness of people and the strength that it takes to be yourself in this world. It can be a daunting task sometimes, and it's nice to see movies where the characters are doing it well. So this is one of those movies. So this stars Renee Zellweger, Colin Firth, and Hugh Grant. Let's see what it says. Academy Award winner Renee Zellweger and Hugh Grant star in a delightful comedy about the ups and downs of modern romance. Bridget, a busy career woman, decides to turn over a new page in her life by channeling her thoughts, opinions, and insecurities into a journal that becomes a hilarious chronicle of her adventures. Soon she becomes the center of attention between a guy who's too good to be true and another who's so wrong for her he could just be right. Based on the best-selling book Bridget Jones's Diary, is another acclaimed crowd pleaser from the hit makers of 4 Weddings and a Funeral and Notting Hill. Yeah, it definitely has a 4 Weddings and a Funeral / Notting Hill feel to it, but better. And Renee Zellweger is amazing. Up here it says it's funny, engaging, and winning. I Every time I see that word, it reminds me of Charlie Sheen. So yeah. I like how the cover makes it look like a diary with a little lock right here. It looks like this one has exclusive new bonus material. Portrait of the makeup artist, the complete Bridget Jones's diary columns, a guide to Britishisms, and more. That's how I read an exclamation mark. And more. So, I love this movie. If you have not seen it, you should. And I was kind of worried about part 3, which came out in movies in 2016. Maybe, or did it come out this year? I don't know. It's come out within the last 8 months or so. I was kind of worried about it because sometimes sequels just don't quite hit the nail on the head. And for a fan, like a hardcore fan of the original movie, then you kind of leave disappointed and feel like the characters were taken too far and didn't stay true to their original personalities. I did not get that feeling from the third movie at all. I thought it was very good. And my husband actually surprised me and took me to see it. Didn't tell me where we were going, and then he had bought tickets to take me. So I have a good memory of it that way too. So along those same lines is the second movie starring the same people. The Big Liar, The Big Lawyer, and The Big Dilemma. And I just think Renee Zellweger is so cute in these movies. I really do. So this one is the second movie. It's called Bridget Jones, The Edge of Reason. Let's see. The best romantic comedy of the year. Let's see what year this came out. You're probably already seeing this before I am. Where are you, year? Let's see. 2005. Wow. Let's see when the first one came out. I didn't realize they were that old. I don't see the date. I don't see the copyright date on the first one, so I'll have to look that up later. But at any rate, this one is from 2005. Renee Zellweger is back as everyone's favorite witty heroine in Bridget Jones, The Edge of Reason. Not that Bridget's counting, but it's been 6 wonderful weeks, 4 fabulous days, and 7 precious hours with one flawless boyfriend, Mark Darcy. But when I'm having trouble speaking. But when mischievous and devilishly charming Daniel Cleaver arrives on the scene claiming to be a reformed man, can Bridget find a way to make true love last forever? It's the absolutely hilarious romantic comedy that proves there's nothing like love to send you over the edge. Yeah, so there's Colin Firth and Renee Zellweger. And of course there's Hugh Grant. Hugh Grant, I mean, he's a real scoundrel in these movies, but he's an extremely charming scoundrel, I must say. You really kind of end up wanting to root for him, yet wanting Bridget to say no to him all at the same time. So, but it's a fun movie. I like these. I like to watch them, especially around New Year's. because that's kind of how the first movie starts out, is with Bridget. It's a New Year's Eve, and well, maybe it's Christmas. No, it's New Year's Eve. And she's at home alone in her apartment, and she's drinking a bottle of wine and singing Celine Dion's All by Myself. It's a very sad moment that I think probably every woman has felt like that before, and kind of wallowed in self-pity a little bit from time to time. Anyway, she has one of those moments, and that's when she decides that she has had enough, and she is going to start a diary to document all of her new amazing adventures and healthier habits. And for that reason, I find this to be a very enjoyable movie to watch around the holidays and around New Year's in particular. Okay, guys, I have one more movie to show you, and it's this 13 Going on 30 with Jennifer Garner and Mark Ruffalo. Ruffalo? I don't know. I say Ruffalo, but who knows? 13 Going on 30 is the best romantic comedy of the year. Now, hey, didn't I just say that about these must be in different years, of course, then. A comedy for the kid in all of us. You guys, Jennifer Garner is adorable in this movie. I just want to be Jennifer Garner. She's totally charming. I think she's charming in general anyway, but in this movie she's particularly so. So, says that Jennifer Garner and Mark Ruffalo star in this hilarious flash-forward romance about a preteen girl who goes from geek to glamorous. With the help of some magic wishing dust, 13-year-old Jenna Rink becomes 30 and gorgeous overnight, with everything she ever wanted except for her best friend, Matt. Now this grown woman must create some magic of her own to help the little girl inside find the true love she left behind. It's a very sweet movie. They're totally adorable together, I think. And it's another one of those feel good, everything turns out okay movies. I mean, there's not a whole lot. I mean, of course, Jenna, who was played by Jennifer Garner. Jenna makes some missteps along the way. She has her priorities a little bit out of order, and she suffers the consequences of the fact that her priorities are out of whack. But in the end, she learns her lesson. She makes things right, and when the credits roll, all is well with the world, and your heart is warmed. So, that is 13 Going on 30. So, let's see, let's go back through these. 13 Going on 30. Oops, sorry. Bridget Jones, The Edge of Reason. The original, Bridget Jones's Diary. I like that noise. Mean Girls. Twilight. My Big Fat Greek Wedding. And Clueless. I would saved this pile. My favorites are Twilight, Bridget Jones, the first one, and 13 going on 30. So, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I definitely enjoyed making it. I hope that you will come back again. I have some video ideas that I definitely plan to put together in the next week or two, and I'll have those uploaded as soon as I can. And in the meantime, thank you for stopping by, and I hope you have a good night and that you sleep well.